When you see a headline about a missile strike, what do you picture? Probably the explosion, right? But the real story, the one that's actually changing how wars are fought, that all happens in the few seconds before impact. It's this incredible, high-stakes game of cat and mouse, and it's bringing up a huge problem that almost nobody is talking about.
So let's just get right into it. How on earth do you stop something moving at thousands of miles per hour? I mean, think about that. The core problem here is just pure physics. You've got this thing screaming through the sky, maybe even changing direction, and you have to spot it, track it, and shoot it down, all in a matter of seconds. Seriously, how is that even possible?
And look, this isn't some hypothetical what-if scenario. For the sailors on U.S. Navy warships in the Red Sea, right now, this is their day job. They are literally on the front lines of a brand new type of warfare, a fight that's all about blips on a radar screen and the sound of an alarm.
All right, so to really get how the defense works, we've got to first understand the threat. And it's not as simple as you might think. We're not talking about just one kind of missile, and they're not all coming from the same playbook.
Okay, take a look at these events. The thing that should jump out at you right away is the timing. We're talking about December 2023, then just a few days later, then February 2024. U.S. warships are just repeatedly shooting down these anti-ship ballistic missiles. And that's a big deal because those things are really hard to stop. This isn't some rare once-in-a-blue-moon event anymore. It's becoming the new normal. So, to put it simply, defenders are playing two completely different games at the same time. You've got ballistic missiles, which are kind of like a cannonball shot way up into the sky. They follow a high, predictable arc and then come screaming straight down at insane speeds. Then you've got cruise missiles. These are more like a sneaky drone. They fly low and fast, hugging the waves, trying to stay completely off the radar. You can't use the same trick to stop both.
But here's the thing. These weapons don't just materialize out of nowhere, right? They're the final product of these really complex, shady global networks that are set up for one reason: to get their hands on high-tech parts and sneak them past sanctions.
And this is what the response looks like. It's not just the military. This is an all-hands-on-deck situation. We're talking State Department, Treasury, Justice, Commerce, the whole shebang. They're all trying to break apart the supply chains that let these missiles get built in the first place. It's a huge intelligence and law enforcement puzzle.
So what's on their shopping list? Well, it's not stuff you can just buy at a hardware store. We're talking about really advanced materials. Things like carbon fiber, super strong steel, tungsten powder for handling extreme heat. And then there's the brains of the operation, the guidance systems, the logic devices. Every single item on this list is a vital piece of a very, very dangerous puzzle.
Okay, so you've got these fast, sneaky, high-tech threats coming at you. How do you possibly defend against that? Well, the answer isn't one thing. It's layers.
Yeah, there's no single magic bullet that solves this. It's all about defense in depth, like the layers of an onion. Layer 1, try to fool the missile. Use electronic jamming, launch decoys, basically throw a bunch of confusing stuff at it. If that doesn't work, you move to Layer 2. Shoot it down from far away with a big, expensive interceptor missile. And if somehow it gets past all that, you've got the last resort, the Close-In Weapon System, or CIWS. It's basically a giant, radar-guided machine gun that unleashes a firestorm of bullets to shred anything that gets too close.
And this whole concept, hitting a missile with another missile, it's actually been around for a while. The first time it ever worked in a real battle at sea was way back in 1991. A British warship, the HMS Gloucester, successfully took out an Iraqi missile. That was the moment everyone realized, wow, okay, this can actually be done.
Now let's jump forward to 2016. This was another huge moment. The USS Mason is off the coast of Yemen, and it comes under a real attack. It fires back and successfully destroys the incoming missile. This was the very first time a warship had ever done that in self-defense. It was a massive proof of concept, showing that all this incredibly complex tech actually works when it matters most.
But you know how this works. It's a constant race. The defense gets better, so the offense has to get better. And the next step in that race, well, it's a whole new ballgame.
And that brings us to hypersonic weapons. So what are they? Think about something moving at least 5 times the speed of sound. But here's the scary part. It's not just about speed. These things can also maneuver in mid-air. They can dodge and weave. That 1-2 punch of insane speed and agility is designed for one purpose: to make that layered defense we just talked about completely obsolete.
And in this new arms race, there's a pretty clear gap right now. The US is trying to build these ultra-precise, hypersonic weapons that don't need a massive warhead to be effective. That's incredibly difficult to do. Meanwhile, Russia and China, they've apparently already got working hypersonic weapons in the field. So you can imagine that's creating a lot of pressure and a real sense of urgency inside the Pentagon.
Let's look at a real-world example. Russia's Kinzhal missile. It's launched from a fighter jet. They claim it can hit Mach 10. That's 10 times the speed of sound. And there were reports it's already been used in Ukraine. So this isn't some science fiction concept. This is a weapon that is here, now, and being used in a major conflict.
Okay, so we've got the threat, we've got the high-tech shield to stop it. Everything seems fine, right? Well, this is where the story takes a twist. There's a hidden cost, a massive vulnerability that ironically only shows up when your defenses are working perfectly.
And here's the crazy paradox. Every time a U.S. ship shoots down a missile, that's a win, but when you have a whole bunch of those wins back to back, you suddenly create a totally different kind of crisis, a supply chain crisis. The military calls it the burn rate, and right now the U.S. Navy is using up its best defensive missiles way faster than the factories at home can build new ones.
I mean, just let this number sink in. A single U.S. carrier strike group, just one, fired 155 of these high-tech interceptor missiles during its tour in the Red Sea. 155! And remember, each one costs millions of dollars. That's a staggering amount of firepower and money, coming from just a small part of the total U.S. fleet.
And the price tag is just mind-blowing. A single SM-3 missile, which is one of the best tools we have for this job, can cost around $28 million. $28 million! You are, in effect, firing incredibly expensive, precision-guided weapons to destroy drones and missiles that might have cost a few $100,000 to build. The math is not great.
And this chart really lays out the problem perfectly. On one side, you have the 155 missiles used by just one group of ships. On the other, you have the entire estimated annual production of another key missile, the Patriot, which is around 740. It doesn't take a math genius to see that if a bigger conflict broke out, you could burn through your entire stockpile incredibly fast.
Which brings us to the big, nagging question at the heart of all of this. What if the winner in modern warfare isn't the country with the absolute best tech? What if instead, it's the country that can simply afford to keep firing? It's becoming a brutal battle of economics and industrial capacity. Who can build, pay for, and replace their weapons the fastest? And who is going to run out of ammo first?